The potassium fertility across a given field, and certainly across a given landscape, just like for all the other plant nutrients, is spatially very variable. So you can have within a field an area that provides plenty of potassium for the crop, and in that very same field you may have areas that require a lot more potassium application than the good areas in order to produce the same yield.
The 4R Nutrient Stewardship Report. Information about how the right source, right rate, right time, and right place interact with issues facing everyone. Sebastian Braum says potassium applications probably create the least number of issues among the three major nutrients. But there's still plenty of room to practice the 4 R's.
If we look at precision management of potassium, unfortunately, like I said, because it's not a focus nutrient at this point, the focus is on nitrogen and phosphorus, there hasn't been the same level of research done in potassium as it has been in the other two nutrients. So precision management of K is probably not as advanced as it could be. But, I guess we have time because we don't have an environmental problem with it yet. But the same principles that are used for nitrogen and for phosphorus also apply for potassium. The principles of 4R, the right source at the right rate, at the right time, in the right placement, apply to potassium just as they do to the other things. We're feeding a living organism. Generally, in the Midwest, it's usually annual crops, so we have a very short window where we can manage things. If you work in permanent crops, it might be a little simpler, but then again, there you might face things like a vineyard in a potassium-fixing soil, and then you'll have to apply the potassium when the crop needs it, so you need to understand the uptake pattern of a grapevine for potassium, and apply it in such a form and at such a timing that the crop will actually benefit from it. And that would probably be in the early irrigations when the berries are forming, when the plant is taking up most of its potassium. Once you're in the ripening stage, there's not a lot of K going into a fruit crop like grapes or peaches, oranges for that matter. So if you would put the potassium on at that time, you would have missed your window. So we need to understand what we are growing, where we're growing it, and what options we have in applying the nutrient. With potassium, it's a water-soluble nutrient, so it would be very simple to apply it with irrigation water. Or if you are dealing with a field crop that's not irrigated, then of course you would be going to either a dry spreader. If you have no fixation problems, broadcasting is probably a fine thing to do. If you have fixation problems, or like in the Midwest, if you're dealing with cold weather and you want to give that small plant a boost, you probably want to consider some banding and getting more of that potassium closer to the crop as it develops so it can find the nutrients and benefit from them faster and earlier.
For more information, visit nutrientstewardship.com.